r/AskReddit. Mall Santas of Reddit, what is the weirdest thing a kid asked for Christmas? I was a Santa in 1997 for a small, authentic Old West village. I was 17 at the time and doing some local theater, and the costume lady was asked to find someone to be Santa for the weekend. She told me she thought of me because, well, you're not fat, but you're big. I'm 6 feet 6 inches, 1.98. So I put on a cheap costume that didn't fit well, and the beard smelled like the last Santa threw up in it, and I waited in a prop shed in the plaza that was normally a sheriff office or something. Tall, skinny, smelly Santa in a shed sitting on a plastic lawn chair. It was no wonder all the children screamed when they were put on my lap. None of them asked for anything, in fact, as they were too busy being scared of me. I had a pair of girls and later a pair of guys from the local Christian high school dressed as elves on the first day to take Polaroids and collect money. On the second day they flaked and I was by myself all day. I charged people money to enter my creepy shed and take pictures of their own kids. Except for one young lady who was probably older than me and severely mentally disabled. Her parents were so apologetic because she was too old, but she sat on my lap and smiled at me with total naked joy. I can still see her face 20 years later. Not a Santa but an elf. I read a letter, maybe I shouldn't have, from a child who asked for a dolphin, specifically not autistic. Not sure if he had had a bad experience with disabled dolphins or what, but he was about 6 years old. I was an assistant manager for a mall Santa with NOR programs. There was a special needs 20-something black guy that would come by nearly every day. He easily weighed more than 250 pounds, so we did eventually convince him to sit next to Santa instead of on his lap. Every time he had to remind Santa what he wanted for Christmas. His list was Home Alone on DVD, Straight Outta Compton on DVD, and Prince's 1999 album on CD. Santa was awesome and brought him the Prince CD a few days before Christmas. It wasn't a mall and it wasn't weird, but the moment sure was awkward. My neighbor has this great Christmas display that he and his family put up every year. They usually had me to be Santa because I do a good Santa voice and am good with kids. One little girl came up to me and I do the usual, "What would you like for Christmas?" She asked if I could bring her daddy back to life for Christmas. It took me by surprise. He was killed in a car accident and this would be her first Christmas without him. Very sympathetically I told her that unfortunately, even though Santa can do many things, bringing her dad back was something I couldn't do. It clearly broke her heart because she probably thought Santa could actually do it. I told her that even though her daddy may not be with her now, he will always be with her in spirit and he will always love her. I worked in Russia as Snow Maiden. This is a Christmas character here, Santa Claus' granddaughter. One of the children in a wheelchair asked to walk again. It was hard. UPD. For peoples, who wanted funny answer. In my practice was a boy, who wanted a girlfriend. He was 5 to 6 years. I know the weirdest thing I asked for was a pen that could write like a pen, pencil, marker, and crayon. I'd never seen one but was sure Santa could make it. I got a 4-color pen instead. This ended up being really long and I kinda ramble on in parts, so here's a TLDR. I was made to play Santa at my unit's Christmas party. A kid asked for mommy's cancer to be gone and I told her to be a good kid and trust mommy's doctors, and that if she did, Santa would help mommy's doctors and mommy would have a better chance of beating cancer. Approximately 9 months later, mommy is given the all clear. Blank. When I was in the army, I stayed back for Christmas 1 year because I wanted to save my leave time for when I got out so I could max out terminal leave. The rear detachment first sergeant voluntold me to play Santa at the unit's Christmas party for everyone else that stayed back. I'm a big guy, so it made sense to ask me. I figured hanging out with the kids would be better than talking to drunk NCOs and officers who could ruin my life if they wanted. Our squadron operations officer, a Major, 04, came up to me about when I was done playing Santa and was gonna sneak off to my barracks room. He told me his wife had recently been diagnosed with cancer and he was pretty sure their kids would ask me to get rid of mom's cancer. He asked if I was comfortable dealing with that and I said sure. He and his wife bring them over, we take a picture and then I ask their daughter what she wants for Christmas. First thing she said to me was, "Mommy is really sick, Santa." She has cancer." Quote, "I don't remember word for word, but here's a close recreation of what I said. I can do a lot of great magical things, but even I can't cure cancer all on my own. I need you to be strong for mommy. Always show her that you love her. Help her around the house if she needs it. Be there for your little brother, he's too young to understand all of this. Trust mommy's doctors. They know what they're doing and they're trying their absolute best to heal mommy. And if it all becomes too much, don't hold it in. Talk to daddy, or maybe an uncle or aunt. They'll understand and appreciate how strong you are and they'll help you. If you can promise to do all of that, I promise to talk to mommy's doctors and help them as best I can." Quote, "She nodded and said, okay, throughout my little speech and gave me one of the best hugs of my entire life when I was done. I tried to avoid any phrasing that gave certainty. I didn't want mom to pass away and this girl's image of Santa to be destroyed. Losing mom would be enough, might as well try to preserve Santa for her. Later that following year when I was out processing from the army, I had to go to his office and get some paperwork stamped. He asked me to sit down and told me his wife had recently been given the all clear. She had beat her cancer. He said their daughter told his wife's doctors what Santa told her and that the doctors said Santa called and told them where to look for the cancer. He didn't even bother checking whether or not I had actually done what I needed for out processing, he just stamped my papers. When I was leaving, he gave me a hug and offered to be a reference for when I needed to find a civilian job." Edit, here's a funnier one from earlier in the night for everyone saying this is making them cry. Little boy, maybe 7 or 8. His dad was a SGT in a different troop, I was in C troop, he was in B troop. I'm not pooping you, he asked me for a BB gun. A Christmas Story is the first thing that came to mind. I shot his dad a look and he had a poop-eating grin on his face. You'll shoot your eye out, kid. My dad said the same thing, what else do you want? An M2A3 Bradley fighting vehicle. Quote, I shoot his dad another look and now he's laughing his ass off. You'll blow the whole neighborhood up, kid, and I sent him over to his dad, who was almost keeled over in laughter by that point. When he was feeling better, my Phil looked just like a real Santa. I used to mess with him around Christmas when we were out and about with a quick Rudolph needs to get back to the pole, we need to hurry. I got a lot of really great looks from kids. The best was a shy little girl that came up and asked for some specific doll. Without missing a beat he says, I'm not sure what the heck that is but I'll have Legolas look into it. He always acted grumpy about but we all know he loved every second. Edit, thanks for the silver. I love reading these stories, I'll have to share them with him. Many years ago a small girl would not tell her mother what she wanted for Christmas. Mom told me the problem and I was to tell her after the kid jumped off my lap. The little girl hopped up and told me she wanted some makeup and some tits. Okay, now I have to tell Mom. We celebrate Xmas Eve with a large family gathering, traditional Polish food, and Santa. And either an uncle or unknown neighbor gets the honors. Drunk uncles and cousins end up on the roof, there have been injuries, making reindeer stomping noises and the young kids really get excited. I'm mid-50s and this has been a tradition well before I was born. I have a ton of stories about Santa on Xmas Eve. One of the most memorable a few years ago when one of my cousin's kids played Santa. His girlfriend went up to sit on Santa's lap and get her gift. She didn't know it was him at first. The gift she opened was her ring and he proposed. It was really sweet but it took her forever to say yes. I thought for a few minutes she was going to say no. In front of his entire extended family. So Santa got his wish this time. Another cousin ended up becoming a professional Santa. Real beard and all. He is the official Santa of some major Xmas events in our area and is on local TV and radio. A lot. Off topic. Sorry. I just love the fact this is my family member. He's an Uber driver as well and drives in full Santa garb during the holidays. I love my family red heart. There was a joke a radio host told that I heard about 10 years ago or so, and there was a mall Santa and this kid, and the kid wanted a Tonka truck that had a hitch or crane, hook or something, and when it comes time to tell Santa what he wants the kid says, I want a truck with a hooker. Not a mall Santa, but once my sister asked Santa if she could have a horse's head and an ice cream cone. She explained that she was gonna paint the ice cream cone the color of the horse, stick it on, mount the horse's head to the wall and tell her friends she killed a unicorn. She doesn't remember. I was a Christmas pixie at the Magic Cave, the biggest, most magical place to visit Santa in Adelaide. It was a section of the 4th floor of the department store turned into a sparkly cave with things like funhouse mirrors, animatronics, rocking horses, lucky dips and expensive toys. Because it was always packed, they employed 4 Santas hidden in small rooms in the Magic Cave. A pixie would lead the children and parents through different gates to each of the rooms. However, if you leaned over one of the little gates far enough, you could see into the room where Santa sat. One day I was on line duty, keep the kids and parents entertained whilst they wait in line, sometimes for hours. My go-to phrase was, "Have you decided what you're going to ask Santa for?" which apparently I said so much my partner told me I said it in my sleep. Most kids would shyly shake their head and then their parents would suggest things until they nodded. Then I got to 2 brothers aged about 7 or 8. They were near the front of the line and trying to lean over the gates. One yelled, "I can see Father Christmas. He's through this gate." The other replied, "No he isn't. I can see him here. There's 2. Seeing how they were about to upset all the children around them, I hurried over and hushed them. I crouched down. "Guys, I was hoping no one would notice this but you got me. Can you keep a secret? There's 2 Santas." "No, no, no, not at all." Furtive glances all around. "You guys know this is the Magic Cave, right?" "Yeah, well, that's just it. It's magic. Time and space are different here. We can't fit all the kids' visits in otherwise. That's why there's 4 doors. Sometimes, if you go through one door you can be walking for hours and still not reach Santa. Other times, it's like he's just around the corner. It's always changing. And when you go in, you never know how long you'll be there." "Hooah. That's cool. I wanna go in the long passage." "Yeah, me too. Aw man, I can't guarantee which one is which. It changes all the time, you see. But I know if you wait at this gate you have a good chance." The mum, who was obviously over the whole thing with 2 hyper boys, just gave me a tired and thankful nod and the boys ended up waiting excitedly by the gate. So in the end they just wanted to wander the depths of the Magic Cave. I had a bit of a giggle to myself when they came out and ran up to me. "He was just around the corner. It must have changed again. Have a good Christmas."